Hey everybody, welcome to DM Talk. I'm Henry Knight, DM from Playerole. Just to remind you that next Saturday, 8 p.m. Central, we have episode 3 of the campaign 2. So be there, and we have one hell of a game. So I'm hoping everyone will be there because we have a really good story, and it's our second year anniversary. So we're going to have a big game that night. Well, anyways, let's start with DM Talk. Actually, before we begin, I'd like to say everybody on Rumble, I want to apologize. I've been getting cut off. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out. So if you do get off, I will put an upload tomorrow or Sunday at the latest. And either way, let's continue. Just let y'all know. Anyways, DM Talk episode 14, topic number 1. This is a big topic, and this is one that is kind of steamy with a lot of DMs and players. What happens, especially DMs, what happens when your creature gets blasted? What do you do when you have this big bad creature? This big bad creature you homebrewed, right? You homebrewed, and all of a sudden, something happens. Bam! A player's just, within 3 rounds, within 2 rounds, killed it. How can that happen? Very easy. It's very simple. Here are my 3 issues that can happen. Number 1, DM has a brain fart. It happens. You control everything. I mean, well, not control, just you design the game, you design the scenario, you do all the NPCs, and sometimes you get tired or you're not paying attention, and the players just knock that creature out. Is it fun? Absolutely not, because you worked so hard for it. But is it fun for the players? Yes. And ultimately, having fun is the number one thing. Having fun is the number one thing. And if something happens in the game that can disrupt having fun, then you have a problem. Because remember, it's not a dungeon master versus players. It's you are both creating a story. The DM brings the characters in, the NPCs, the setting, the story, the ambiance of the game. The players are the actors, the thespians. They're the ones that bring life into the game. Granted, you do as well with your NPCs, but if your creature, you can describe it, 10 minutes of description, and your creature comes out, and all of a sudden, they kill the creature. It happens. Those are the things you have to remember as a DM. There are 2 things that could happen. When your character, when your creature, let's say, goes up against a party, and then the party kills that creature very fast, is it disheartening? Yes, but you have to move on. As DM, and if you want to be a professional and work on things, how to better yourself as a DM, those are one of the qualities you need to work on as DM is if the players, one-shot your character, or even 2-shot, hell, even 3, three times the charm, whatever it is. If that fight is very fast, you have to make sure that you just move on as a DM, and move your story on, because ultimately the main thing is you both are having fun, the players and the DM. So when the players are not having fun, then there's a problem. And also too, the DM has to have fun too. If your creature gets killed quickly, and that's topic number 1, what do you do? Okay, so here are things. Let me give you this scenario. There is a underwater city, right? The characters find a way to breathe underwater, and all of a sudden they see this, amphibious creature. So they fight, and round one goes not too well. You roll badly, and you get hit pretty hard. Hit point wise, CR rating wise, let's say he's a CR 5 or 6, and you have a party of 7. Now, having a big party, have to remember your creatures that you dish out, you have to balance everything out. But if the creature is a bit powerful, that's okay every now and then. You gotta just balance things out. But if your creature gets hit hard and he dies, make him go down good. Describe how he dies. Make it fun, not just for you, but for your players. Both of you have to have fun in the game. Because if not, there's not going to be a game. You got to remember that. Playing a role-playing game sometimes isn't easy because you got to remember there are people in the game. And not only do you talk to them, they talk to you. And in the game, you're role-playing. And if you're not connecting in that scene and that creature dies, what's going to happen is someone's going to get angry. And I'm sorry, I'm watching my cat right now, Charlie. She is known to jump on the table, and I have all my equipment on the table. I don't want her to ruin anything, but it's okay. If she does, I'll get her. And if you see me leave the camera briefly, you know why. But anyways, I was saying, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with not having a creature that, especially if you put so much time into it? How do you deal with that? Okay, all you DMs, go to therapy right now. Because the players are going to find a way. They always do. They always find a way to hurt your creatures. And I'm looking at my cat because she's here you go, bye Rumble. Okay, so I have this error on Rumble. I want to find out what it is. I was smiling because I knew it was going to happen. I was looking. So I have a connection error. So I got to figure it out. So I'm sorry. I'll upload when I can. Hopefully everybody else is good, and I'll upload later and in the weekend and figure it out. Either way, I was saying, creatures, they're kind of like your best friend as a DM. You have your set of creatures, and you even buy this cool miniature. You buy this cool miniature, you paint them, you do all that work. Oh man, this red dragon's going to kick some ass. And you put the red dragon in the middle of the combat scenario. He comes out, he stops, roar, flame. But, they recharge their fire breath in the 5 and 6, but you never recharge. You roll, he doesn't recharge. You attack, he gets low numbers. It happens. We got to remember, it's fun. And if you're rolling badly and your creature's rolling like crap, and the players are having fun killing your creature in a very fast pace, then oh well. There's other creatures. I mean, personally for me, I love making homebrew characters. Creatures. I like making homebrew items and so forth, which leads to the other topics, and we'll go over the other ones a little later. But I really love making homebrew creatures. I really do. They're a lot of fun. And gotta remember, when you're making a homebrew creature, make them reasonable for your party, because if they're super hard, they're going to be pissed off. They're going to be like, I killed him. How many hit points does he have? Wait a second. Why am I still alive? Why is that creature still alive? Well, got to remember, if your creature dies and you painted him, he looks beautiful. You know, your dragon, your red dragon, you worked so hard to paint him, and your party, the party, just annihilates him. It happens. But you had a great time painting that miniature. You had a great time putting that creature on the battlefield. And you're the party of 7, 8, 6, however you have your table, those players just killed your creature. And what do? All right, I went over number 1 earlier. Number 1 is you move on. You move on with the story and go from there. Don't sulk on it. You sulk on it as a DM, they're going to see it and they're going to be like, oh, it's DM against player. No, don't. Move on. It's fun. A creature to a DM is like a book. You have the Dungeon Master Guide, you have the Monster Manual, you have a whole bunch of creatures, right? You have the random chart. Use those things. If your homebrew creature gets killed at a very fast pace, oh well. Number 1, move on. Number 2, I said don't sulk. It's part of moving on. Just leave it alone. I know some DMs, it's upsetting. Oh, you killed my creature. Well, I got more. I mean, come on. In here, it's your mind. That creature gets killed. What do? You move on. Don't sulk, move on. Okay, that was all under number 1. Number 2, as you move on, don't worry about what happened. Connect the plot. You killed that red dragon, there's consequences. Maybe that dragon was owned by someone. Or maybe the other way around. Maybe that dragon was controlled, or the dragon controlled somebody, maybe a human, maybe another creature. That control is lifted. And now, instead of worrying about your creature dying, the story element rises. Make that connection. If you don't make that connection, if you don't move on, there's going to be problems. The players are going to know it. Don't be mad. Again, number 1, move on. Number 2, intensify the story, connect it. Your creature died, something happens. There's cool treasure, cool items, all that stuff is fantastic. Don't stay in that moment. Okay, number 3, probably the most important. As you move on, the players, because they're all players, they're going to be pumped up about killing that red dragon or killing that homebrew creature you created. It's happened to me, it's happened to all DMs, and that's 100% cool. Let them get pumped. Number 3, if the players are having fun and they're like overjoyed that they just killed this creature and they're moving on and there's a connection, okay? What you have to do is focus your mind. If you're that DM that gets mad, oh, they killed my homebrew creature, son of a bitch. Number 1, move on. Number 2, story. Bring in the story. Number 3, the most important, is continue that story. Focus on the story. Focus on other things. Focus on other creatures, other events that may arise that you have set up. Because if you don't, it's really going to be cumbersome. It's really going to destroy your campaign, destroy your story. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are a high-level streamer and been streaming for years and years, and man, if a player, your group, kills one of your big bads and you've been working on a big bad for a long time, and in your mind you have this scenario, wipe it out. Because when you're going up, not going up, when you're in a setting where there's players around you, every scenario is different. Every combat is different. Every role-playing moment is different. When you open up that door, there may not be light, it may be dark. There might be a creature behind that door. There might be something very different. Here's an example of how things can go. In the last episode of The Light, in campaign 2, in my campaign with the guys, one of my guys is a paladin, really great guy, by the way. Dom, his character is changing the path. You know, he's a good guy, but then he wants to change. You know, he's doing some things in the game, role-playing wise, that are not very paladin-like, and that's fine. But in your mind, if you have a scenario, if you got this image of his character being a hero and so forth, and saving people that are weak, can't save themselves, well, scratch it out, because players will do anything, and you have to be on your toes. Improvisation, improvise is the number one thing as a DM. That is the tool that you have as a DM to utilize, because you can have everything written. You can have books and books, DM's guides, source books, and a player will pull a fast one on you. I just killed your creature. I went the other way. What are you going to do? As a DM, you have to figure out, improvise, how to not keep yourself in a depressed moment. How to not railroad the game, the players. How to not control every aspect of the game. Don't do any of that. Role play. There are consequences. They one-shot your creature. Move on. Connect the story. Move on. Maybe that creature was connected to something in the dungeon. Maybe that creature had the way out of the dungeon, but they killed it so quickly that they didn't bother to notice a magical item that was hidden somewhere in that chamber. Those are the things you have to do as a DM. I mean, you don't have to do it. It's up to you. It's your table. But I'm out of experience. I've been gaming for a long time, and I know players. Players they're just going to be like, well, I got this idea, Henry, that I think I'm going to grab this rock and I'm going to throw it on top of that building, and hopefully that rock will land on that building, on the very top of it, and it won't slide down because the building, the arch of the building is perfectly at an angle, and it won't slide down. There's my cat. I told you. Hey, Charlie. Perfectly in an angle. And she's going to jump right on me. No. Come on. Come on. There you go. Anyways, if you're going to stay here, you got to be good. Okay, this is my cat, Charlie. Yeah. Say hi, Charlie. Okay. Stay here. Stay here. Anyways, those are the things you have to do as a DM. I mean, if you want your campaign to survive, that's the only way your game is going to survive, is if you improvise. If you don't improvise, things can happen. Hi, Charlie. Say hi. Hi, everyone. Yeah, if you don't improvise in a game, you know, it's going to really hurt you in your campaign. Because ultimately, when it comes down to it, your players have fun. Number one thing is having fun. If the DM's not having fun, if you're having issues or complaints, yeah, what? If you're having issues or complaints, there's a problem. Stop biting me. All right, all right. If you're gonna be like that, you just gotta sit down. Stay. No. She wants to play right now, and if you see me going to another room, I'll be right back. And I'm gonna put her, and she's being annoying right now. It's okay if she sits by me. Okay, just sit here and be a good girl. Anyways, I was saying, you know, those are the things you have to do. Okay, let's look at topic number 2. Treasure and loot. How do you deal with treasure and loot in your games? I mean, okay, so you kill the big bad, you kill the creature, right? So how do you deal with treasure and loot? If you kill a creature, does the creature disappear? And the loot just falls, like in a video game? Or do you have the loot scattered about in the room? Those are the things you have to think about. Where do you put the loot? And loot can be handled in many different ways. Magical items, and you can go to DM's guide. It tells you how to do all that. It tells you how to easily roll. You know, for certain levels 1 through 4, 5 through 8, and so on. Roll for the treasure. Roll for the gold. Roll for the loot. All that stuff. It's important because you know what? Characters have to go in town and buy things. They gotta buy all these things. And okay. See, my cat is needy tonight. The needy that she's biting me. Look at that. Look at that. I'm not doing anything to you. Down. Anyways, so you have loot. And how do you deal with that? Magical items. So, oh, here we go. Wrong button. So you have your magical items, you have your random treasure. You know, challenge 0 through 4. You know, you roll your 5d6, and you have your copper pieces, silver pieces, all that stuff. I'm not going to go over all that, but that's typical. I mean, you can do it that way. Or you can just look at a chart and say, okay, I'm going to put so much in that room or scatter it throughout the dungeon. You can do that. And I don't know about you, but it's kind of funny if a creature dies and all of a sudden there's treasure there. It's a video game thing. Oh, there's treasure. Go get it. Disappears. Because every player will ask you, the guys will ask you, hey, where's the treasure? Do I see any loot? No. Damn. They go in a different room, then they find the loot. It's how you handle it. And having loot is part of the game. Yes, it is, especially if you have a campaign. How are they going to buy their weapons? How are they going to... They go on adventures, right? They go on missions, and they go to a tavern. And in the tavern, they get hired. Yeah, you know what? We'll give you 200 silver pieces if you kill these rats. This rat king, this minor wormling, a red wormling. You know, this wormling is causing the town, putting the town in upheaval. They're scared of this wormling. So they want you to go into the forest and deal with the wormling. Okay, so you do that, you come back, you get the silver. But what if you go into the forest and you see some cool treasure, right? Gold, silver, you know, platinum pieces, Those are the things that you got to think about. You have first level, about 500 pieces is uncommon. Anything over 500 is considered rare. Very rare, 5,000, and legendary, 50,000. So that is magic item rarity. So those are big deals. That's a big deal in your campaign. So you got to remember, give your party an amount, a balanced amount. You don't want to give them too much, because if they're filthy rich, then they're going to go anywhere and start buying. But I'm not saying that that's wrong, that can't happen. It all depends on how you distribute it in your game. Okay, let's take a look here. Buying and selling, we all know that stuff. You have identify, cursed item, all that stuff is cool. Let's go look under magic item category. All right, rods, rings, all that type of thing. That's a lot of fun. I mean, magic items, I love making items. I love making homebrew. I love doing items, making items. And let me tell you, items can be fun. I had this item and this item was in campaign 1, and a rogue had this dagger, and this, I called the dagger of transformation. And what he did was, once a day, when he killed a creature, that aspect of the creature would be sucked, drained, or vacuumed, into the dagger. And when that happened, for once a day, he would shapeshift, per se, into that creature. Yeah, you're like, oh, he's not a druid. How can that happen? It's a magical item. It had so many charges and so forth. Why not? It's a cool item. I decided to do something like that. And I also made other items. I made a demon sword. Demon swords are very cool. You could pretty much do anything you want with it. Now, you can say, well, you have to have balance in your game. Well, you do. But all depends on what type of story you want. Do you want an epic story? Do you want, no holds barred? You're going to go up against gods and demons and angels and dragons, Tiamat. I mean, if you're going to do that, yeah. It's going to be Clash of the Titans, baby. You're going to have your swords. You're going to have your weapons. You're going to have your magical items. And you're going to need them. And they're going to need them because my cat, I got to say this, my cat Charlie, she's right now on the countertop waiting for me to give her water. She has water in her bowl, but she likes drinking from the faucet. So excuse me one moment. And if you could hear me, I'm going to keep talking. You could hear me. I'm going to turn the faucet on real nice so you can have some water. All right, there you go. All right, excuse me. I'm back. So I'm going to get right back up and deal with my cat. She's a real pain. But I love her to death. But anyways, that's what you do. If you have a high-powered campaign, you're going to have high-powered items. If you have a dungeon crawl, you want to balance everything. You're going to try. Season 2, campaign 2 of my game, and episode 3 is coming next week, is more balanced. It's dungeon crawl, and I have an epic story, yes, but it's not as high-powered as campaign 1 was. Okay, so let's see. Rod scrolls, all that stuff. Okay, so let's go back up to the random treasure. Types of treasure. Yeah. Types of treasure are kind of cool. Yeah. So if you go under the category with type of treasure, it is, I mean, that can make or break you. All right, she's done drinking water, so I want to go ahead and go right back to the faucet, and I'll be right back. Give me a second. You can still hear me. So types of treasure. All right, enough. Types of treasure. Again, as a DM, you're going to have to look at what you want to do as a DM. What type of treasure you want to use for your campaign. In the treasure type, there could be coins, gemstones, art objects, magic items. You know, a +1 longsword. Hey man, +1 is cool. It's very good. And it can make or break your game. But gotta remember, if you're doing a high-powered campaign, a +1 longsword is going to help. A rusty broadsword is not going to help. A rusty dagger is not going to help. So yeah, you're going to use these things to intensify your game. So we're talking about magical items and random loot. So those are the types of treasures that most players are going to encounter. Now you can do it two ways. Number one way, random. Roll a die. Roll before. Or roll then. It's cool to roll when everybody's present, because I was in the first episode, I had everything pre-rolled, treasure-wise, and I put them out accordingly. This time I'm doing it on the fly because it's fun. They hear the die, they know, oh, he's looking. Not, well, you know, he put that in there. No. Silver pieces suck. No, it doesn't matter. You roll randomly, and they hear it, and you tell them what it is. Yeah, does it take a little time? Yes, it does. But it's fun. And I urge you to do it as a DM, because it's a lot of fun. Okay, so let's see. A 12-sided, you roll a 1. You get these 10 gemstones, or these gemstones that are worth 10 gold pieces. And then we move on to another chart that's worth 50, 100, and so on. You gotta remember your levels. If you're level 1 through 4, you want to keep it under 500 and under gold pieces wise. Anything over, you're going into the category where your balance is starting to teeter. Okay. Now, again, the balance thing, if that's what you like 100%, you know, do it. But the balancing, and especially it coincides with experience, because when you're doing that, oh, she scared me. I did not expect you to do that. Come here. Hang on one second, I'm going to put her away. Give me one moment. If you can hear me, if it coincides with experience, you know it's going to work. All right, Charlie. I'm going to put you in here. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. Thank you for being patient. So, she scared me. She jumped behind me. Yeah, she did a sneak attack on me. 3d6 damage. Anyways, okay, so you are lost my train of thought here. Okay, so you want to coincide with balance. You want to keep everything balanced, because what's going to happen is if it's not balanced, and especially if you're using experience, and let's see what type of area. Okay. If you are using experience, is there's going to be issues. Milestone is different. Milestone, you could throw things in there left and right and it won't matter, but experience, it will matter. It will matter, trust me. Especially if you go beyond 500 gold pieces. Okay, so let's go to magic items. Here we go. Again, chart. Here's where it matters if you're using experience. If you're using experience, you know that anything over first character level or higher, the value is 500 gold pieces, right? Rare is fifth or higher. So I said 1 through 4. I'm sorry. It's levels 1 through 5. So fifth or higher is 500 gold pieces or more. Between 500 and 5,000 gold pieces. Very rare is level 11. It's 5,000 and 50,000. So now you have to be careful on what you do with these items that you give your players in your game, because it's important. It's very important. All this is very important. Okay. Legendary, 50,000. You know, you're 20th, 17th level or higher. Okay, so let's see. Let's go down here. Let's go to magic items. You got to remember that when you have a random treasure, here we go. If you're doing an experience game, and you're doing magic items, magic item table A, you know, and I got everything printed out. You could have it on your computer, all spread out nice and neat. I have it printed out. It's fun for me. I like printings, I guess. So I'm old school. I like paper. So you roll, and a D100, or you can use, two 10-sided. Not a big deal. So let's say you get a 50. You get a scroll, a cantrip. Not a big deal. Right? Now you have this other table, table B. A little bit more powerful. You have to be careful with this. Be very careful with your items, because if you go beyond, then there's a big issue with your story, and your guys will have all this money and all these rare items, and it's going to be crazy. Trust me when I tell you, I've experienced some crazy shit. All right, so let's say they roll a really good number, 100. Wand of Secrets. The wand has 3 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expend one of its charges, and if a secret door or trap is within 30 feet of you, the wand pulses and points at the nearest to you. The wand regains 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn. Wow, it's uncommon. And can you imagine if you are going to create a trap room, and one of your players says, I got this wand, and guess what? Trap, done. Yep. You have to remember that sometimes having cool magic items will bring a glimmer to their eye. They'll smile, a Cheshire smile. They'll be happy. And then that nice little trap room you put out, nope, it's not going to work. Why? Because you just gave them a really cool item. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. Please do not misunderstand me. It's okay to have a trap room. It's okay to have traps. It's okay to have items. It's okay to give your players weapons, but do it accordingly. And especially if you're playing with experience and they go level by level. give them only what is under that circle. Level 0 through 4. Level 5 through 10. That grouping. What do I mean by that? Let's get to it. Okay, so this table is extremely powerful. Let's go to table A. Table A is not too bad. You got Potion of Healing, right? And there's a option. Greater Healing, Superior Healing, Supreme Healing. So there you go. Spell Scroll. Potion of Climbing, not a big deal. Spell Scroll, again, level 1. Spell Scroll, level 2. Potion of Healing, Greater Healing, very cool. Bag of Holding, very cool. A Drift Globe, okay? Not very cool, not very beautiful. Yeah, you got a Drift Globe, big fucking deal. Oh my God, I got a Bag of Holding. It's cool. But it's still a bag of holding. It could hold items in it. It could hold things that you find in it. And you can sling it around your shoulder like a purse. Up to 500 pounds. It's great. Can't get anything better than that. Now let's move on. Okay, so magic item table B. You got your potion. Potion of fire. See what I mean? It gets stronger. The items get stronger. And then you got C, and then you got D, and now you're into a lot of items that are extremely powerful that will make or break your campaign. Okay, so before I go to the next subject matter, I want to continue by saying that magical items are amazing. I love magical items, and especially homebrew. But I'll give you an example of how it could make or break your campaign. It happened to me. It happened to me in season 1. The last big bad, one of my players decided, hey, I have this really cool item, and what it does is it wards off evil, per se. He has like 6 charges. He hasn't used it in a long time, and what it does, it opens up a fissure in the ground, and it kills your big bad or any enemy that's evil. But I'm sorry, I misspoke in the beginning. It has to know that you're evil. If you're evil, then it will open up a fissure and take you out. Now, that item he found in a random chart I rolled. He rolled good. He rolled really good. And he got it. He hadn't used it the whole campaign. Up until the very end. And remember I said you have a brain fart? DM has a brain fart? Well, I had one. My creature had 3 resistance. Legendary resistance. I think I had 1 left over, or 2 left over. I had 2 left over, yeah. But either way, I could have used it. Easily. That combat round, he used it. The glory was his. He killed my big bad. I had a brain fart. I had totally forgot about that item. It happens. It happens in games. Just remember that. We're not perfect. We're all humans. But I want to tell you something. It's fun when something like that happens because it creates a connection with your players. It creates a connection with other people. I'm streaming. They're like, hey, this guy, he made a mistake. That DM made a mistake. Yay. Or it was an intense moment. that mistake didn't matter because a player killed a big bad, and he was one of the main bosses, and he killed him. He one-shotted him. Hell, go back to that. Hell yeah, I moved on. It was great. And I gave it to him. It happened. Hey, man, I made a mistake. Boom, take it. Boom, take that glory, baby. That's what it's about. It's about the story. It's about creating with your players an event that might be catastrophic, changing it to the light. You're heroes. That's what it's about. Anyways, let's go to the third topic. Third topic of tonight is very simple. What do you do as a DM if your scene story goes a different direction? What about your player? What if that player goes in a different direction? What if that player stops and says, hey, I want to go to door number 3 or door number 5, and you have it set for door number 1? What do you do? Remember I said improvise? As a DM, you have to improvise. When you are in your game, in your story, and you improvise, and in that game, things are falling apart because you're not improvising, and that player says, oh, I'm going to go to door number 5, and everybody else wants to go somewhere else, it is your job as a DM to just somehow bring that party together. First rule of thumb: if the party is not together, if they split up, that's a bad deal. If you can handle it, if your experience as a DM and your party of 6, 3 goes over here and the 3 goes on the other end, and if you want to do that, I have all power to you. But I'm telling you right now, it's extremely difficult to do that if you're not experienced. If you're a first-timer DM, I do not recommend it. Let me tell you why. Because your game could be all over the place. So if you have, let's say, something written that they go into this one dungeon and the other players go and stay in this one room they want to investigate, and the rest of them go out the dungeon. So now if you have the story with all the players and they're split off because they want to see this room, you're going to slow down the game. The campaign is going to fall apart. Let me tell you how it falls apart. Very simple. Everything just collides because your story is now an upheaval because a player wanted to go over here. Now, with me, I love free will and I love challenge. So if a player goes into a different room and everybody else continues on, guess what? So what? So what if they do that? That's just for me. For me and my experiences, if a player wants to go to A and do something, then guess what? They do something. But gotta remember that if a player does something wrong, let them. Let them. It's something wrong in the story, not rule-wise or anything. Just they go in a different room and they tell their other party members, no, I want to go in that room. I want to check it out. Doesn't matter what you do. I want to do my thing for now. I'll meet up with you later. That's totally fine. But just remember, you have to improvise and make sure that that room, if you have a hidden treasure or something big in that room, then make sure that you do it. Write it in. Or if you don't have it written in, improvise it. Oh, there is a mimic in that room. Wow, cool, huh? I just came up with that just 2 seconds ago. Oh, there is a lizard man in that room. A kobold in that room. Hiding in the corners, in the dark shadows, whatever. There is a chameleon. There is a basilisk. Whatever. Do something. Oh, wait. It's a bedroom. Beautiful, ornate cloths, silk all over. What do? I'm searching. Is there anything of value in this room? Yes, you see something in the corner. You see a chest. Oh, great. I go up to it. What do? You open up that chest. Oh, I can't open it. There's a lock. Gonna try to lockpick it, huh? Funny, you're not a thief. But you're gonna try anyways. You fail miserably, but as you do that, you hear, oh, a dart flies by, just manages to clip your ear off. That's what you do. You improvise. And what is that player going to do? Oh, shit. It's too much for me. Or they might say, screw that. I'm going to try to bust that chest. Some players are hard-headed. And it happens. It's role-playing. And you have to improvise. So you go back to the other party, right? They are going across the room in the corridor, the cobblestone ground, the two torches light up the room, it flickers. You're going to have to continue to describe it. Don't wait for that other player, because this is how I see it. In movies, the bad guy is going to wait until the next scene, and then I'm going to do something. No, in my games, that bad guy, that good guy, the person you're going to meet is going to continue. If you fail to do something in the chain of events, that bad guy is going to continue. That's what's going to happen. So what do? Do you stay there? Do you wait? Oh, they're going to go all the way to the chamber. 6 miles down. In the dungeon. The big bad's going to wait in the throne room. I'm going to wait for the heroes to come to me. No. Bullshit. Why? Why can't you just improvise and say, well, what if the villain is hungry? What if the villain doesn't want to wait? What if the villain wants to walk right up to them? Set a trap for them. What if the villain wants to hide? And when they approach the room, they see a chandelier, torches all around, and in the ground, they see symbols. They say, what the hell? Why are the symbols lighting up as they walk in? Well, you didn't make a perception check, did you? You didn't look around, did you? What did you do? Oh, I'm looking around. Okay. Make a perception roll. An average passive perception. Let's say they got a 14. Oh, they're all looking, they're on their toes. Nobody could sneak up behind them because I need a 14 or over to sneak. To sneak up on them, because their passive perception as a whole, as a group, is 14. I make the roll, boom, surprise, sneaking up on you, surprise, coming down with the warhammer, surprise, I have 2 daggers in my hand, surprise, I have a mage, fireball, surprise. Oh, that can't happen. That's bullshit. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. You're intensifying your game. You're putting your players on their toes. It's too difficult. Why? It's not too difficult. It isn't. In my last episode 2, players came up to 3 swords. They were colored. The hilt was colored. A black, a blue, and a purple one. Yeah. Each one had a different thing. The blue one, you turned it, a circle of light around the center, and then 2 other circles in the corner of the room. That was the exit. The other 2, you turned them, and creatures appeared. One, an armored construct. They have yet to reach level 3 at the time. Or I'm sorry, they were level 3. And that armor construct had an armor class of 20. The other sword, you turned it, a platform came up, turned, 2 hellhounds. Oh, Henry, that's too tough. Why is it tough? No, it wasn't too tough at all. It was a dangerous scenario. Yes, it was dangerous. But they chose to run in the room, to rush in the room, and oh, one with the light. That's cool. The second one has a creature. Oh, are we going to do the third one? Yeah, we're going to turn the sword, the next sword. And guess what happened? Another creature. So your players are going to do what they want to do. You cannot stop them, because that would be railroading. If you change your story to meet needs, and it seems like you're controlling everything, that's railroading. Don't do that. Let the players go. Search. That's what they do in a dungeon. When you are in a catacomb, when you're in the pyramids, when you're in Egypt per se, and you are in a pyramid, you're taking, well, you're looking at the beauty, you're taking pictures on the outside of the pyramid, and you walk in, you see the hieroglyphics, the beauty of the pyramid. What do? You walk in. You look around. If you have that freedom to do that, then why not have that freedom in your game? Have the players look around. Have the players make their perception rolls. Tell them what they see. If they have an average perception, passive perception of a 14 or higher, describe to the scene. Describe to perfection in the scene. Describe things. Don't hesitate. Don't say, hey, well, you saw a chest. That's it. The sword in the corner, a hat, and some rations. No, it's boring. Describe where they're at. If they're in a dungeon and there's cobblestones, they're on cobblestones, and there's torches on each side, which you're clearly at where they left off from last game, and they're continuing down the dungeon, and they have 2 scrolls and a map. They put them all together, and lines mystically, magically created itself and formed a way, an X to a location in this dungeon that they're in. It formed. Now they have one big map. They know where to go. Oh, let's go this way. They don't know what they're going to face, but they're going. They're moving forward together. If a player kind of goes here, let them. Because I guarantee you, the traps I put earlier, they're going to stay together. They're not going to go apart. They're going to be like, we're going to stay together. Because in that party, if you don't have a healers, sorry, it's just the way it goes. My NPC, Lila, healed. One of the healers of the party, Jean, will be back next episode, episode 4. That would be, I'm sorry, episode 3, not 4. That would be his debut for season 2. So, and he's a healer. He's a cleric. So there will be 2, an NPC and then a player, which is great. You got 2 healers, you're good. That's what they do, they heal. So what do you do in your game, and let's continue this topic further. If you're telling your story and you didn't look at what you got, or let's say you misread something, you fumbled something in the DM, and you forgot. Does it happen? Hell yeah, it happens. You got to remember, you are running every aspect of the game. The NPCs, the setting, the story, the combat, initiative. And with a party of 7, 8, 9, I've had a lot of players in my ears. I've had probably 12, 13 players. Not Dungeons and Dragons, but the most of it I've had in Dungeons and Dragons is 9. In other games, I've had 13. Now, running big games, a lot of players, is that cool? Hell yeah, it's fun. Can combat be cumbersome? Yes, of course. But as long as they're all having fun, you're having fun, that's the goal. And keep combat moving. But that's another topic. We're probably going to do combat scenarios and combat altogether, and I'm going to tell you what I use. But traditionally, I went with no initiative combat for season 1. Season 2, I'm going back to the traditional, you go initiative. I kept initiative there, and I got these awesome tabs. And you can get them at Amazon. They're fantastic, and they work well. I used them last game, and it was fantastic. But do you need to go out and buy all these things? No, you don't. You could do them at home, make them at home, use your ingenuity, use your brain, your noggin, and come up with ways to make things fun in your game. As a DM, your goal is to make things fun. If you don't have the minis, if you don't have the background, then find a way. You have a brain, find a way to make things fun. For the players, but also for you too. I have fun DMing. I love DMing. I love playing as well, but I love DMing the best because I love telling stories. And in I know we're talking about certain subject matters, but we'll get back to that in a second. But in the story, and I love telling stories. And I love improvising. I do. Improv on the fly is probably my thing. I can do it. I can do it. It doesn't scare me at all. If you as a player, you do something out of a box, you want to challenge the scene, the combat, I'll do it. But there's sometimes where you're tired, players will boom, boom, one-up you. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's fun. To me, it's all part of the game. It's all part of the game. You're not fighting against any player. You're just, oh man, I screwed up. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. But improvising is fun for me. And I love doing it. Because my players have a lot of freedom. A lot of freedom. They go everywhere in the game. And that's why the world is big, because they go everywhere. And I know that you've got it written per area, but if they track out and come back later, why would you not have them do that? There's nothing wrong with that. Let them do it. As long as it doesn't get crazy. And trust me, it will get crazy sometimes. But if it does, it does. And it's cool. Anyways, let's continue on this topic. We'll be done shortly. But this topic, to me, when players go in different direction, is is an interesting topic, and to me it's important because if you have your players go in different directions, they're going to do two things. They're going to ruin, and they don't do it on purpose. They want to have fun. They're there to have fun. So if they're exploring a dungeon, they're going to explore, and you got to be ready. So how do you fix, quickly, how do you fix if one of your players, two of your players go in a different direction? Number one, find a way to bring them back together. As they go into a different room, the main party goes into combat. They find a creature they're attacking, meaning that player is in that room is going, uh-oh, I got to help my buddies out. Whoop, bring them back. Number one, that's a way you can do it. Number two, riddle the room with traps. Now, I'm not saying do that because you want to bring them back, but if those players are integral to your story and you need them, as soon as they walk in, darts fly everywhere. You know, gas fills the room. Oh shit, let's get out of here. You know, boom, there you go. That's two. Three, and I always have three. The most important out of all of them. Number three, how do you bring them back? Okay, so the first one was a combat scenario. So they're in the room, they come back. Oh shit. Two, the room is trapped heavily. They come back. If that's not a sign that you want to bring them back, I don't know what is. Third, they hear a roar. A loud roar. So loud that the ground trembled. Story form. That's the best one. Because the other two might be a little bit, they might take offense to it. A deep growl, a roar. Oh, combat. That coincides with one. Yeah, combat. But it isn't. They come out. What the hell was that? Did you hear that? No. They smell sulfur. What is that? Now they're back. Their minds are no longer in that room. They're back with their buddies. Then, oh, there's nothing here. Want to go back to the room? They go back to the room. It's locked. Boom, there you go. Something's afoot. Yeah, there is. Maybe you shouldn't go back in that room. Maybe you should come with us. Okay. So there's tricks that you can use as a DM to bring them back into the story without pulling them. Sprinkle things around to make sure that those guys come back. But if you can deal with players splitting off, then do it. It's your table. You're the DM. And if you can handle it, by all means do it. But if you can't, my suggestion to you, sprinkle here and there ways to bring them back together. And story form is the best way to do it. It is. It's a way that you're not trapping them, you're not hurting them, you're bringing them back. Anyways, that is all I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed DM Talk. We'll be back next Friday, the regular time. And issues streaming on Rumble, and I'm going to find out why. Don't know. But hopefully I can figure out this issue. Anyways, have a good night, and I will see you next Friday and then Saturday for episode 3 of The Light. Bye-bye, guys.